All right, hi everybody. I haven't done a whole lot of podcasts, but this is my friend Frank. I met him out here a year or two ago here in Arizona, and he has a YouTube channel too. And then he did a podcast with me on his channel, and it did pretty good. It got over 100,000 views. So I don't usually have a whole lot of guests on the channel, so I figured I'd let a second one rip.
Oh yeah.
And here we are. So we're going to talk about more stuff when it comes to dating, female nature, life, being a man. We're just going to let it rip. So, Frank, you can introduce yourself, kind of what you do, who you are, how we met.
100%. Yeah, my name is Frank Lopinski. I'm not in the online world as Casey is really as much as I used to be. Have my own tech company, but we met, funny enough, I was also a viewer watching Casey's stuff. DM'd him one day. Man, this is going back almost 2 years ago now.
Yeah.
And, we followed each other, and then I invited him out to get cigars one night, and then we kind of just hit it off. And we have very similar ideology when it comes to the modern dating market, especially.
Yeah, for sure. Frank was actually the first person I met when I moved here.
Yeah.
So like there's a few people from North Dakota where I'm from who lived here, and like I was hanging out with them the first couple months, but then Frank was like the first person I met up with. So he's got some questions he'll ask me today, and I'm sure I'll ask him some stuff too. But I guess one thing I'll ask you is this: why do you think the podcast, the first one we did, got so many views?
I think the first pod that we did that crushed was because you never have really sat down in a legit setting like that.
Yeah.
In terms of a one-on-one conversation. Everybody knows your market board videos. Everyone knows your sit up the camera and talk to the camera videos, but they don't see the behind the scenes of who you are really.
Yeah,
and when you have that non-cut long form, they can really get more of a sense of your personality.
Yeah.
And I think we had some good content, good questions, and good conversations in that too. So if you haven't watched that, watch that one after this.
Yeah, watch that one. I'll link it in the description of this one too. But yeah, I guess as we kind of dive into everything, I guess the reason why I haven't done a whole lot of podcasts is because overall it's like been easier for me to, I guess, control, I guess, the flow of like what I'm speaking about. So it's way different because the camera doesn't talk back, right? So I can control every single sentence of the whole, I guess I can control every single sentence of like the whole video. But I think it's good too, like if you talk to people, you know what I mean?
Open conversation, open dialogue.
Yeah.
I think to just like jump into one of the things that really was something I actually thought about after we hung out the other day was we were talking about somebody who's gone through your program before, and he just kept asking the same repetitive questions on stuff. And he, like you were saying, he already looked good, but he just kept asking logical questions.
Yeah.
But the whole reason why we even got into that conversation is like, why do certain guys just get it and certain guys just not? And that was the whole thing.
Yeah. So that's what we were talking about when we were at the cigar place. And okay, so this is kind of my take. Like, I'm going to use like an elementary school or middle school term with it. So like, I think that if you go sit in like a high school biology class or a middle school biology class, like everybody hears about the term like natural selection, right? So like some people, you might be kind of pissed off if you like apply that word to humans too, but there's probably some truth to it. Like, if you look at like what is natural selection, it's essentially like survival of the fittest, right? So adaptation occurs. Okay. So like most men, like if you actually think about it, like most men, it's not like you automatically get to be attractive, or you automatically get to have options, or you automatically, just because you, whatever, you learn some things or something like that, you're automatically going to have women who have interest in you. Like most men, just like how, in the animal world, whether it be deer or whether it be giraffes or whatever, the strong ones get to survive and reproduce, and the ones who don't die off and they don't have kids. There's probably some truth to that with like humans too. Like you either figure it out, like you figure out what you have to do as a man, you figure out your shit and you level up, or you can call it whatever you want. Learn female nature, level up. You have to do anything that you can do to separate yourself from the masses.
Yeah.
Because women want the best. So like that is the uncomfortable truth for a lot of people is like, I think that most guys, you could give them all the advice in the world or whatever, but the truth is like your genes, based on who your parents are, you're either smart enough and competent enough to use that information and figure it out, or you're probably not.
it's so interesting because like we live in the information age now where everything and anything we can look up or consume content on how to get better and educate ourselves.
Yeah.
But like we hear, I think you were making a comment before too, Connor, about how like you're better than saying, or no, it was actually you were like, oh, you're better than saying, oh, hey, I thought you were cute, opposed to not.
Well, yeah, it's like, you know, like every guy wants to, and like this is a whole different like rabbit hole to go down, but it's like a lot of guys, if you take it back to the base problem, okay, let's take the base problem. You have a guy, he's on the bike path, he's at a bar, he's at a club, and he sees that pretty woman walk by, or he sees her, and he says nothing, and then he goes home and goes to bed and lives in regret every single day because he never talked to her, he never talked to anybody. And guys go through this year after year, probably with hundreds of women that they would like to talk to or say something, just anything. And it always comes back to the base question. And the base question is, well, I didn't know what to say. Well, what should I say? Well, I didn't say anything to her because like I don't know what to say. So that's the $1 million question, is it's like, what do you say? And you are better off saying something, even if you say, hey, I thought you look really beautiful, right? In the whole YouTube influencer world, that's such a bad opening statement, right? You're going to get a bunch of guys say, oh, you gave away too much validation. You did this, you did that, you over-validated. It's like, yeah, that's really only true on the internet. Like in the real world, you separated yourself from the 95% who just instantly took the loss anyways by going home and not saying anything. So like, what's the best approach? It's like the best approach, I think, is the best approach for you that allows you to confidently say anything besides nothing.
Yeah.
At least when you're starting.
I'll say this too to even back that point up because I agree with it 100%. I went on a spree a few weeks ago with the intent for like casting for the show stuff, and I was going out, man, 5 nights a week. If I see an attractive girl or a group of girls that are attractive, I'm going to go talk to them with this intent in mind. And I know that the context is a little bit different than straight up like pickup and stuff like that. But either way, some of them have turned romantic, even though the framing when I walked in and approached them was more so, you could say, professional.
Yeah.
But here's an interesting point too, to back up what you're saying. Is like, I actually asked all of them afterwards when we sat down one-on-one, because I was approaching at the club, at the bar, at restaurants. But when I sat down with them one-on-one, or we were hanging out one-on-one, I asked them, I was like, why did you decide to come and meet up with me one-on-one? 9 times out of 10, all these girls said, oh, well, you were actually super like confident in your approach, and like you were super like dialed, and like you were funny. Like those are like the little things that stick out in their mind, because most guys won't even do that first step of approaching the girl. What do? We use the environment around us to then have that as an opener to the girls next to us.
So another thing is, it's like a lot of guys put so much pressure where it's like, if I do talk to her, or if I do try to say something, I'm hoping there's XYZ outcome. And it's like, you can't like regiment your whole life like that, because you just don't know how each situation is going to play out.
100%.
You know, a thing too, like I want to go back to too on the whole like natural selection thing, is like another thing too that I want guys to understand is like your game or your game plan for how you get ahead in life and separate yourself to have more dating options is not going to look like everybody else's. So like there's certain guys, like for example, me and Frank, he has a different personality than me, right? Like I'll never be him and he'll never be me. Like you'll only be you. So some guys, it's like, you have to also find your stride. So like some guys absolutely crush at online dating apps. If that's you and you're an amazing texter and you're an amazing, like you're good at photos and looking really awesome or whatever, then that's what you got to lean into.
Yep.
If you're the guy who doesn't care about your sleep schedule, and you're the guy who can go out 6 nights a week and you don't care, and you'll stay up till 2 a.m. and you just want to talk to a bunch of people, then you should probably do your approaches and you should meet new people.
That's like me.
Yeah. If you're a dude who loves social circle and partying and you like to have house parties, then do that. It's like, there's 1,000,001 ways to win. And that's why when you said like, you know, guys who are like logically thinking of the right thing to do, it's like, that is what like survival of the fittest is like, you look at all the tools and all the skills that God gave you and you choose the right fit for you. You choose the best tool for your own arsenal, if you want to call it like that. Mm-hmm. And like guys just don't do that. They don't do enough like inner work of knowing themselves. And then what happens is they just try to model influencers. They try to replicate influencers. It's like, dude, you're never going to look like that influencer. You're never, if that dude's 6'5" and you're not, I'm sorry, you're not going to be 6'5". If that guy's super charismatic and you're not, I'm sorry, you're not going to be charismatic. If that dude, whatever, you're not going to be that same person. But the amazing thing is like, once you realize that, like you realize God only made one of you. Like there's also that other influencer you're watching who you think is so charming or so captivating. Like he'll also never be you. You know, if you're a dude watching somebody else, it's like, well, that person will never be you. So it's like, it's finding your own stride in life.
Yeah. I think even adding on to that too, you can only optimize so well for looks unless you go, you know, a non-natural route. Yeah. Number one, like I'm talking about like physicality, like in the gym and stuff like that. Obviously height. Yeah. You really can't unless you get some crazy surgery. Right. But there is one thing that I've changed, and I think anybody watching can change, because I used to be the kid in high school that had like a small group of friends, like nerdy gamer friends. Yeah. And I was never like good with girls. I now in hindsight, looking back, I had like choosing signals, and I had girls like put themselves in front of me to escalate. And I just didn't know how to do it. Yeah. But dude, literally there was months where I would go out of my way to go to the grocery store and cold approach people. Yeah. And I would specifically ask them, knowing damn well where the nearest Starbucks is, saying, do you know how to get to the nearest Starbucks? Yeah. That was like my entry level of like cold approaching people, mostly girls. Yeah. But like that for me was like so earth shattering and like so nerve wracking. Right. And then now like, it's just like you chip at it one day at a time. And over time, when you have that momentum, like I've gone from that to now what I'm at now with my social life. Yeah. So if you're really dedicated to it, I really do still think if you have the awareness, you can fix that.
For sure. And it's like everybody's success path and like transition looks different. Like you went like the social skills route with it. Like, and if you look at your evolution, it was like, so you started by asking questions about grocery stores and Starbucks, you know, and you progressed to, you know, now when you said casting, right? Like you're trying to build a reality TV show, right? That's what you're trying to do, right? So you're asking all these people different things and you're meeting people wherever when you're out and about. Like that's a big jump. So like there's a natural progression with anything, but it's like, here's how I would describe it so that way it sinks in for people like most. When I say like Frank's natural progression with his social skills, this is the best way I can describe this. If you ever see the movie Avatar 2, okay, you see the movie Avatar 2, there's two different types of avatars in that one. There's the jungle people, right? Or the one in the wild in the forest with the big tree. There's those avatars. And then in the second avatar, they meet the sea avatars, right? They meet the avatars with the fins, yeah. Right? So the difference between the sea or the ocean avatars is like when you look at them, their skin looks a little bit different. It's more like aqua blue, but their hands are actually webbed because they swim. So when I say like survival of the fittest, or when I say like adaptation, or I say like natural selection, you have to look at what you are good at and what your environment is like. Like, so the way Frank had to get ahead, like for himself, was he had to look at what are his strengths, what are his weaknesses, right? Like what are his strengths, what are his weaknesses, look at everything, and then dive into the social piece because that's what he gravitated most towards. Mm-hmm. You know, like if you're a dude who you're good at taking pictures, then you're going to have to gravitate more towards the photography and online dating app side because that's your avatar. If I think that, do you think that's a good example?
Yeah, it just goes down to the self-awareness. You know, most people don't have self-awareness. Yeah. Like to a degree, like I'm just not even using that term like jokingly. Like it's just like so, you have to be so self-analytical in a way to like see your strengths, see your weaknesses, yeah, and then reverse engineer how you can get to your desired outcome. And like it just goes down to your own awareness of yourself.
Yeah, your own awareness. And that's where like the mindset I literally live by, like I literally tell myself this, I'm like, I got to figure it out no matter what it is. It could be business, it could be life, it could be anything. Like I got to figure it out. The way I look at it is I really do believe the whole natural selection thing. So like I tell myself like my genes are designed to die. That's what I tell myself. Like my genes are designed to not replicate, or my
Statistically.
genes. Yeah, statistically, look at it. Just like in the animal kingdom with deer or lions or anything, you either prove you can perform in your environment or you don't.
Yeah.
And if you don't, then you're kind of screwed. So like you look at what you have to work with, and you look at everything like how God made you is how I look at it. And I'm like, okay, based on all the skills I have, what is it that I have to do to put myself in the best light? And that's what every single guy has to do. And here's the thing. I don't think most guys have the competency to do that, because like I said, when it comes down to natural selection, you can give, the saying is you can lead a horse to water, right? You can't make it drink.
Yep.
You can give a guy all the information in the world, and there's a hardwiring or something in the mind where there's a block where he can't perform. Mm-hmm. And some guys lack ambition with business. Some guys lack ambition in life. Some guys lack ambition to lose the body fat. Some guys lack ambition to step out of their shell and talk to the pretty woman, right? Because they lack that ambition socially. Whatever it is, like if you fall into that category, you're gonna have to fight like hell to get out of it.
I think a problem too nowadays, and this is not speaking about everybody, but a lot of guys, I would say, even the guys that are watching this right now, either you probably have a friend or someone that you know that is not where they want to be in life in any aspect, not even just dating, but like financially, dating, relationship wise, like family wise or friend wise. Like there's probably, like I said, either you or a friend that you know watching that is just numbing themselves too, in terms of like different vices, and using those vices to supplicate and mask that pain.
Yeah.
But the problem is that because I used to do that, but the pain is only going to get way worse over time. And that voice in your head and like your consciousness, like your inner consciousness, is going to be like, you have to step up. Like what you're doing right now, like you probably feel really guilty after you do some sort of vice that's supplicating for a deficit in your life. And that's your consciousness telling you to step up and step into that person you're meant to become. Like that's the way I felt socially, where I was like, why am I successful on paper with stuff, but I have no social side of things?
Yeah.
And that was like eating me up so much. And that's why the pain drove me to fix that. Yeah. And I can only talk about my experience with that. Like, I don't know, you know a lot more about like dating pictures and like dating apps. I have no dating apps.
Yeah. Like my strength over the years, like I've just proven this to myself more times than not. Like my strength for sure is knowing what to say behind that goddamn cell phone. And that's probably from making so many marker board videos of teaching like almost the psychology of how like the female nature is.
Yeah.
Right. So like my strength is definitely pairing the right photos with the right unique masculine archetype is kind of what I call it. And then text messaging in a way that's congruent to that to demonstrate the most amount of value. I think that if you know how to do that, there's a lot of key levers that a guy can pull that sometimes is even hard to demonstrate socially right there on the spot, like at a bar or like out and about when you're walking or something, or on a bike trail, or if you meet someone. But then again, like that's just like, that's my preference, because that's when I bring it back to like competency again of like your environment, that's kind of the hand I was dealt of the strengths that I have. Like if you look at yourself, right, you got a totally different skill set. So it's like, it's about knowing what to work with for each individual.
I want to say this too, like your texting abilities and like your psychology of understanding of how the texts flow. Yeah. I mean, you show me all the time, like breakdowns of like stuff. I'm just like, what the like, this is crazy. And it makes so much sense. Yeah. I want to give some free game with it too. Cause like, I mean, I would even send you certain stuff sometimes, or show you stuff of like my ex-girlfriend.
The one thing that I found is just so strong with texting is knowing when to hold down the button and give the heart reaction. Because this is what like guys don't understand. Like hypergamy is not just like the reason why most of like what I would say the traditional or original red pill guys struggle is because like they're so fixated on the whole like alpha side of things, but they don't realize and they don't understand that, like hypergamy, to satisfy like a woman's hypergamy, a woman's mating strategy, right? Because like reproduction, right, is family creation. Like if you have like intimacy or romance or sex with a woman, like what does that lead to, or can that lead to? It leads to child and family creation. Well, you need both sides, right? You need the alpha side of things, which could be the assertive, right? The strong, right? The stuff that maybe is even considered arousing. But the other side of the coin, you can call it beta, and some guys don't like to hear that, but like those softer elements that equal dad, right? Like safe, non-reactive, loving even, right? Like you have to be able to demonstrate all of those things. And like, even when you're texting, right? Like, the way you can layer stuff and format stuff, you can slowly demonstrate all of that. And guys who don't know how to do that through the phone, like you'll see this with tons of dudes. They're good, maybe call them players. They're good at getting laid maybe, but it's like their retention sucks. And if you look at their retention, they always suffer through the phone.
Yeah.
They're either talking too much or they're saying the wrong things. It's lowering the value, or they're asking a lot of questions that doesn't lead to a desirable outcome because they're actually dropping their status without realizing it. And then she's just gone and doesn't text you back no more.
That's the thing too. And we talked about this, I think at the lounge, was one of the topics. It's like, you have to step into the red pill and learn it, and then step out of it, because I also fell into that trap. But if I stayed stuck in that, I would be just like one of these guys that has the one side but just burns the bridges in terms of long term, if you want that, because that itself is its own skill set. I think one of the things that you do well too is that you have your own sort of language that you do. And like,
what do you mean language?
Like over text.
Oh yeah.
And like, you create that environment and you create those that communication style that feels, oh, it's just Casey. Like with, you know what I mean? Like romantically, not like with the homie, like me.
Right. One of the things that works so well too, like on texting, I mean, not to go too much into the whole texting thing, but like just the strength of the psychology of like misspelling stuff that I've found, or like never using punctuation. I never use punctuation. Like one of the ways, like I think you can display a lot of status, like for example, if I were to text you or like anybody and I say, what are you doing? What? WATRARE, you, just the letter Y, doing, no punctuation at the end. Another thing I've done or can do is I will have run-on ramble sentences that to the naked eye looks like a paragraph, but when she reads it and she goes, whoa, there's stuff misspelt. There's zero punctuation. There's not a single period. There's not a single exclamation mark. What most guys do is they want to be so spot on with their punctuation so it reads properly because they want her to interpret it the right way. To a woman, she looks at that and she goes, effort. So if you spew off a bunch of crap and you hit send and it's her job to now figure out where the punctuation goes in her mind because you don't have any, that's a display of status because it says you don't care. You figure out where that period or that exclamation mark goes. So there's little stuff through the phone that like I've done over the years that like when I was in my earlier 20s, like I was able to attract or get women who at the time I thought were way out of my league just from like doing stuff that way because it was so counterintuitive to how a different guy would like text them or talk to them. You know, and that's my own kind of style with it. That's what I mean though. Every guy, the older I get, I believe every guy needs their own style.
Yeah, it just goes back to your identity. Yeah. And knowing yourself at a base level. Like I had no identity when when you're 20 years old at the time, who has an identity, right? Right. So I wouldn't even like beat yourself up on that right now. If you're a younger guy watching this, it's just going to come through experience and come through the self-reflection of like the one-on-one with you time. Yeah. And adapting, as you say, with natural selection, because it is a real thing. And when you said that, I was like, that makes so much sense.
Yeah. And I think a guy like, this is what I do for my own life is I take the natural selection thing so seriously. I'm like, you know, like you can give yourself all the tools, all the information, but like to some degree, it's like you either are or you aren't. Like I'm a firm believer that you can really say anything like to her on that open a lot of times or whatever, and just even her seeing your overall physical presence, what you look like and what your vocal tone sounds like, just a single sentence and she's going to know if she's into you or not a lot of times. Yeah. Just off rip of like, he is my type or he's not. Yeah. So what I'm trying to say is like, you got to fight like hell to make yourself the best you can. So that way you kind of outdo that whole natural selection process.
And then even carrying on to that too, with like going from 0 to 1 seems like it's so difficult when I'm talking like if you go from no girl to a girl, that seems so difficult.
Yeah.
But like the whole thing what they say about like once you have like 1 or 2, like your psychology fundamentally changes.
Yeah.
And it's like way less effort in a way and way easier to have like 3, 4, 5 you're talking to.
Or even it's such a big win for a guy when he can see, he's like, whoa, there's actually 2 girls right now who simultaneously even just want to give me the time of day and text me in the first place.
Yep.
Even that's a big win for a lot of guys.
Without a doubt.
Like, oh, she'll go on a date Tuesday and this one will go out on a date Friday. Like for a lot of guys, even just a small win like that is like, holy moly.
Yeah.
For once, I'm not operating at the lower value, you know?
Yeah. She's actually reaching out first.
Yeah. And it's like guys just have to do anything. Like you got to do anything to get to that point for you. And that's where it's like you can't model influencers your whole life, because that's how you have a sense of no identity.
Yeah.
You know, if you look at a lot of, I wholeheartily believe this, and I don't really talk a whole lot about a lot of other people like, or content creators like on my channel ever, but a lot of people, it's like, if you ask your average 25 to let's say 32-year-old dude, and you say, why did you start this business, or why do you have a business? Well, because Gary Vee or Alex Hormozy told me to. You know what I'm saying? Why'd you start a podcast? Oh, because I thought Joe Rogan was cool. It's like every single dude, their entire identity, their entire life was pre-programmed by influencers. So no one even knows who they are. You know what I'm saying? It
lacks identity and it also lacks intent.
Yeah, completely. And the trajectory of your life, you're like, well, why are you even doing this stuff? And they don't know. It's because they watch the internet too much.
That was my problem too, is like I fell into that, as where I was consuming all this content for hours a day.
Yeah.
Like almost every day.
Yeah.
Back when I was like living at home still, when I was chilling. Mm-hmm. And I was having all these new opinions, and some of them were really good to have, and some of them were also very confusing and conflicting in certain ways, where I was like, I had to stop watching content.
Yeah.
I had to take what I thought was good that I heard online and say, okay, I have to apply this. I'm going to shut all this shit off, because this is messing with my mind, and I'm not going to be able to step into the person I want to be if I keep going and going and going.
Right.
You got to turn it off for a minute, live life, and see what works for you, like you were saying.
100%. To anybody out there telling you that walking up to a woman or talking to a woman and saying, hey, I thought you were really beautiful, I wanted to talk to you, for any other dating coach telling you that that's a bad open, or like, no, that might be a great open for you. And it's like when you combine like how you look with your vocal tone with who you are, if you are her type, that might be just a fine enough line for her to want to keep talking to you. And I think guys are way too hard on themselves, because they think they need to keep learning all this shit, and they're not even taking any action anymore at all. It's like they're going mute and just looking around, and they don't know what to say at all because they watch so much screen time.
That's the problem. And that is the exact outcome that I've ran into, and I would argue most guys run into, is they consume so much content, where then they go out and live life for once, and they just freeze, because they don't live life in general.
Yes.
And that is the big disconnect when it comes to in-person interactions.
Yeah. I agree completely. And that the word is like identity. Like that's what everybody's missing, is identity of like, who actually are you? What are you here on earth to do? Like, who are you? When you think of anyone who is great or who's done something cool, or like who is unique, if you look at like Michael Jordan, you look at Tom Brady, you look at like anybody, it's like their personality they have is clearly right for them.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like that's the lane every single guy needs to step into, is like, who are you and how can you shine to your highest level? And it's like you can't do that by emulating me. Mm-hmm. I've seen other dating coaches, I swear to God, I don't know their names, but I've came across videos on my suggested feed. I have seen dudes, I swear to God, with a tank top on, with a pair of Ray-Ban sunglasses on, with a whiteboard, or wearing a cowboy hat. And I'm like, dude, like it's like you're really gonna do that, man? Like, you think you're going to be able to talk like me? Even if you get some views, right? You're a watered down version, you know?
Yeah.
It's like,
that's just how it is. Like, that's the people that don't have the identity, and they're like, oh, this works for Casey, I'm going to do it. I'm going to try it. And all right, fine, try it.
Yeah.
And like, see if it's authentic to you.
Right.
And like if you actually want to wear that cowboy hat on camera with the tank top with a whiteboard.
Yeah.
But
for sure.
But the consumer and the viewers are still not going to be like, this is really you. Like you have such a unique archetype for like this sort of concept or this sort of content, excuse me. Most of the guys in the dating space, they're all like, I don't want to say you're not clean cut, but like you should.
I'm not clean cut.
Well, yeah, they're all clean cut. They're all like wearing some nice shit. You just bust open on the camera with your hat on or sunglasses on, just raw information on the whiteboard.
100%.
It's so polar opposite to what other people are, and I think it is congruent to you from your background.
I'm glad you said this. Because it brings back my point of identity and strength and natural selection. So like I know myself. I have one strength that most people don't have. I'm disciplined as by the time that guy takes his 20 extra minutes to do his skin fade right or his beard grooming routine, I'll just pump out 3 videos and I'll just dominate. You know what I'm saying? Like that, but I know that that's me. My strength is like in the time that a dude will sit there and do 30 minutes of prep to watch videos to figure out the perfect approach. If you give me 10, 20 minutes and we walk around the beach or whatever, I'll do 10 approaches in 10 minutes and I'll get my volume in. When I come back, they say, how many women do you talk to? I'll say 10, right? Cause like, I just like to do, but that's how I personally win. Once again, that's unique to me. So like when I look at my own God-given traits, I'm like, okay, I'm not the best like socializer. I'm not the best at like networking.
I'm working on that.
Right. I'm working on that. Right. I can evolve. But like when I look at my God-given tendencies, I can just do and perform and not get tired and just execute. Yeah. So like, because I know that, I just applied who I was to my marker board video. So that morning, if I woke up and I have my pajamas on and I don't feel like changing, I'm not going to. I'm going to do it in my pajamas, and they might have Snoopy on them or Garfield or whoever, but that's how I like to do it. You know what I'm saying?
That's what makes
so like,
you real though.
Yeah. And like, you know, I don't think you have to look so glamorous to give dating advice, or even, I don't even think you have to be glamorous even to attract women. There's sometimes, man, dude, I've got done with the gym. I smelled like shit. Yeah, I met up with my girlfriend, or I met up with a woman, and she sits there and goes, "Oh, you reek. I kind of like it though." Like I've seen this. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't have to be perfect.
I think the main thing that we're talking about to bring it on a fundamental level or a base level is being in your head too much.
Yeah,
because I would argue that most guys, and even most girls, probably suffer with social anxiety nowadays.
Oh, for sure.
And if you get stuck in your head too much, and that's why watching a lot of content from all these different people, all these different opinions, that's what will create even more anxiety. Yeah. Because you'll hear all these different opinions and you won't know what to do.
Right.
And that goes back to your mentality of identity. And it keeps going back to that. It'll always go back to that, even with work stuff.
For sure. You know, like... You have to know yourself, and you have to know what's congruent to you and like who you are. And I think like until you get that part down, man, your dating life's going to really be hell, because even if you get a 1 or 2 dates or a first or second date by trying to like look a certain way, or, you know, you went and you bought a certain outfit or something, it's like past a couple dates, or even if she sleeps with you a couple times, the woman pulls away because she just sees something's off. She's like, this guy's either trying too hard, or he's like trying to say the right thing, or he's trying to, and like I've been there. And when I was in my earlier 20s, like the only reason why I know all this shit that I teach is because I've made every mistake 10 times over. You know, I've made all the texting mistakes, which is why I know what not to do. Yeah. I've made all the mistakes. So like, because of that, I can show guys what not to do, because no one taught any dude this.
What would be your applicable advice for guys to learn more about themselves and to encourage them to self-reflect in general? It's kind of hard because everyone's different. Yeah. But like, what would be a general piece of advice for guys to self-reflect more and find themselves and know who they are really?
Well, good question.
It's kind of a loaded question.
Yeah. How do you find yourself and figure out? What I would do is this is going to be counterintuitive advice, but what I would do is I would look at your dad, I would look at your grandpa, and I would look at your great grandpa. And the saying is the apple don't fall far from the tree. So however their personality is, you're damn near a spitting image. And even me with my temperament and attitude, a lot of people say like I'm just like my dad in a lot of ways. I can fight tooth and nail, but at the end of the day, like what every guy I think has to realize is like you are your father's child. So like you got to look at, hey, like, you know, when your mom and dad are around or when your grandpa's around, like, or there's a family reunion or there's Christmas, what is it that your dad or grandpa said in that moment that got your grandma or your mom to laugh, right? Like, what is it that made him charismatic? What is it that made him stand out, right? And then your dad probably didn't know to double down on those things, but you might because of this podcast. Double down on what you're made of. You know what I mean? Like,
that's a good take. I wasn't expecting you to say that. That's a good take.
Yeah. Like you can try to emulate me. You're not going to do it. You can try to emulate a different guru. You're not going to do it because you're not them, but who you are is your genetics. And your genetics is who were your predecessors, who came before you, and who came before you was your dad and your grandpa. Look at those old school traits and say, hey, I probably got a touch of that in me. How can I use that? And this is why I keep saying natural selection and all this shit, because if your grandparents or your dad had kids, which they did because you're here, then that means they were reproductively successful.
Yeah.
So that means by default, you are already, just because you're living here on earth, you are somewhat of an alpha male because you were a descendant of a guy who did it and succeeded and replicated. So lean into that and start, like, guys are too hard on themselves. It's like, give yourself some swagger, like give yourself some excuse to have that ambition or that swagger to say like, hey, you know, I am a winner. I came from a winner. Like I'm still here on earth. I'm still living. I'm still breathing. Right. And I'm going to look at who I came from or where I came from, and I'm going to lean into that. So like, and if I'm rambling, man, feel free to cut me off.
No, this is good sauce right here, I feel like.
But like, okay, so like when I say you either are or you aren't, I don't mean that as in like, oh, you're either attractive or you're not, and you're never going to have any options. No, I mean like she either kind of likes you or she doesn't, meaning you're her type or she's not. So like me, for example, if you're a woman and you're not interested in a Midwestern man, which is me, I'm from North Dakota, with brownish blonde hair and greenish blue eyes, then you ain't going to like me. Cause I ain't your type. I can say whatever I want. I can put any game on the table. I can say, oh, I got a big YouTube audience, or like, do you like cowboy hats? I hope you do. But like, she ain't into a Midwestern dude like me. I ain't her type. Maybe she likes a dude like you with pierced ears. You know, maybe she likes a dude like Connor with a hat on and a mustache, right? It's like you will only win when you look at where you came from and you're finally self-accepting of that.
The self-acceptance piece, I think, is something that I don't want to say most, I feel like a lot of guys probably don't feel that because their life quality doesn't reflect that right now, at least in the moment. No one is, if I were to give any add-on to what you're talking about, there's never going to be a point where someone's like, okay, I'm ready. Or like, okay, now I'm good enough, or now I'm good enough. Oh, I made X amount of money and now I'm good enough.
Yeah.
Or now I know this person. Okay, now I'm good enough. Like that day is never, ever going to come. Cause I used to believe in that.
Yeah, me too.
Bro, my whole thing when I was 17 and 18, before I got into crypto, I was like, I want to make X amount of money before I even have a girlfriend. Once I made that money in crypto, there were no dating options.
Right.
I had to work on myself socially. I'm like, oh shit, this is not working out how I thought it would.
Yeah.
And like, there's never going to be a piece. Like that was a limiting belief that I had
for sure,
and I was unaware of
for sure.
And the faster that you can get rid of limiting beliefs, the faster your growth will be in general.
Yeah.
And that comes down to self-awareness too. Being aware of your thought patterns, being aware of why you do certain things or why you believe certain things. And you should question certain things you believe in and certain thoughts you have, because they're going to hinder your progress in any aspect of life.
Yeah.
So
for sure.
Yeah, that was my little spiel.
Yeah. And then what I would say too, to a dude, when you say like, how do you find yourself or how do you know who you are? Well, you got to look at where you came from, your parents, and then what you can do after that is, I would say, once you're accepting of that, like me, for example, I'm this dude from North Dakota. once you're accepting of like who you are, then sure, add all the self-improvement stuff on it. Maximize your body in the gym. If you have never had abs, I've had abs for probably the past 8 to 10 years now. It feels cool. Like, you're going to realize it's not everything, but it's cool. Like, get into the best shape you can, make as much money as you can, do the things that add the cherry on top where it's like, yeah, your life is good. Because I think too, a big thing that I think is really important is like just being able to sleep soundly at night. And the more money you make, if you're financially smart, you set yourself up for a good future, you're fit, you're healthy, you're able, you're eating good. I think your natural baseline anxiety day to day drops because you feel healthy, right? You don't have financial stress because you know that you've planned accordingly. And then you can walk through life and breathe a little easier. So like, that is part of it too, is like developing yourself, but not thinking that all that development now means you're going to feel ready. You're never going to feel ready. To this day, I don't feel ready. Right. But like, you just become, and you stack enough wins where you're like, okay, I see proof I can win. So like, I'm going to just try my best.
That's what it all is stacking the minuscule wins that eventually add up to be a big win and a big difference and a big change.
For sure. You know, and what I'll do too is I'll just touch on a little bit of kind of like stuff I guess, just kind of how I am with stuff, and you can chime in too on things. So like me personally, I'm not ashamed to admit this. It just is how I am. Like I derive a lot of confidence from being physically fit. I always have. Before I got into dating coaching, I was doing fitness coaching. You know, I've had like a 6-pack since I was like 20 years old. I'm going to be 30. And like, for me personally, like a lot of my day-to-day lifestyle habits is designed to optimize my fitness, whether that be like strength performance in the gym, the little stuff I have to do. Like, for example, we went out last night. What did I eat?
Shrimp.
Yeah. I had 3 shrimp cocktail and that's it.
Yeah.
Just shrimp on ice, pure protein. And that's it. So like, me personally, see, like not every guy's like this. Some guys, right, their body weight, their body fat can get high. They don't care. They're still socially charismatic, everything. Me, I'm not like that. I derive a lot of confidence from being fit. So like, I don't drink any alcohol. I don't drink because like, for me, like, if I start doing bad on workouts, I don't feel as good. Or like, if I start drinking, I get the munchies and then I want to eat more. Well, now my face is bloated. I feel worse. I don't sleep as good. And my mood and confidence tanks. You might not be like that.
I'm the opposite.
Right. You're the opposite. So like, to him, whether it be drinking or all that, doesn't bother him. So like, he knows himself. That's what I'm saying. It comes down to identity, and like, you really got to know yourself.
Yeah. Even testing out how you can figure out how you know yourself is testing the limits on certain things. Yeah. And it's like, okay, I can handle X amount of alcohol, or okay, I can handle X amount of sleep, or I can handle or I can handle this amount of hours of work and still be productive. Yeah. After I hit a certain point, okay, now it's probably best for me to do not deep work, but lighter work, and then, you know, kind of phase out. Right. It's just being aware of how your body operates and how your mind works. Yeah. In all ways. It just comes down to knowing what your body responds well to, and like you said, where you derive certain confidence from. Like you said, yours is like fitness and physical capability. Yeah. I would say a big piece of confidence for me when we go out. How many people do I know here that work here? How many people know me? Oh, if they're able to do that, oh, I feel great being here too, because I'm able to help my friends out too.
You're more of a socialite.
Yeah. Yeah. Like even today, like this bottle of water they gave to me for free. And it's just like one of those things where it's like, oh, hell yeah. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I'll bring a bunch of the guys here. Yeah. So my thing is crafting an environment for people to have a good time, confidence wise. Yeah. And when I have that environment and I'm in that environment, it's where then who knows what type of action we'll get into tonight. For sure. And that's what gets me excited. Right. Yes. And that's where,
not to sound like a broken record, but I want every dude who's watching this podcast to just like know thyself, like know who you are. And like, you're going to notice like Frank in this situation has a totally different personality and traits that I don't have, and vice versa. But that's okay. There's not like a right or a wrong. I think like what happens when guys watch so many people, or you really gravitate towards one specific influencer, you try to emulate their behavior, their mannerisms, and it's just not going to work.
I'll tell you, for even real life experience too, that backfired on me when I was dating my ex-girlfriend, and it wasn't congruent to myself, and certain behaviors would show. And then in hindsight afterwards, I'd be like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. Right. That's not me. Right. I shouldn't have done that. Right. It gets too raw. And that's like not how I would react, or I shouldn't even say react. That's not how I would conduct myself in general, 100%, without being influenced by a certain ideology. Yeah, it's really interesting. Sure. It controls your mind in a way, but we consume. Yeah, because like the saying is like, you are who you hang out with. Well, nowadays most guys don't hang out with anybody. They just watch people on the internet. So like they sit in their room by themselves, and it's like their best friend is this guru who doesn't know they exist. Yeah, it's a very parasocial relationship. Yeah, but one thing you told me was like, you know, especially like if you're around like new dudes, like one thing that you do a great job of that I've even started to incorporate is just asking the other person more questions. The more questions you ask the other person, whether you're actually engaged and interested or not, at least the other person will walk away from that interaction and feel good, because it feels like you are engaged and you're trying to get to know them. And that's something any guy can make a conscious effort of. Without a doubt. That was something I worked on too. I think even to elaborate on that last point, you said like, I think you just said something like you have to act like you're engaged or something, or like go through. Well, even if a dude isn't engaged, like let's say you meet a new group of people, and let's say you just want to make a good first impression. Even if you're not super engaged yet, you should still act engaged and ask questions, so that way socially it's like, okay, this guy's a good vibe. Yeah. And here's a hack too. If you live in a big city or you're a regular somewhere, I do this anywhere I go. In Scottsdale, I'll do this anywhere I go, and I'll just start talking to the bartender or the waitress, and just like start talking about random stuff. Like today, before I came here, I'm friends with the GM there, so that always helps. And then the servers or bartenders know that. But still, this guy comes over to me. He's like, you know the Gatorade lemon lime flavor? I'm like, yeah, that's like the OG flavor. He's like, what color is it? That conversation went on. I walked up to like 5 or 6 different people, random people. And I was like, what color is this? I had to pull up my phone. We were debating whether it was green or yellow. There's something stupid like that. Okay. And like 3 people said green, 3 people said yellow. And then we're like, all right, best out of 2 then. So we have to get 2 more people to say one other color. And then whoever wins. Everyone, and then the rest said yellow. It is yellow. If you think it's green, you're colorblind, honestly. Yeah. But little things like that build the rapport, right? Where it's like, oh, that guy was actually super fun to talk to, and like they'll remember you. And like afterwards, all the staff comes over and they're like, oh, what's your name? Oh, Frank. Nice to meet you guys. Like, right. And so the point I want to bring up on that is that shit gets me hyped. Yes. What guys don't realize is like there's certain things, like the stuff he just described, like those things that like the thing that just happened today. Some guys might say, well, why do I want to do that? And the truth is, like, it might not have a direct ROI on your dating life right now today, but there's a chance. I'm sure there's people you met 6 months ago, a year ago, and because you established that social connection, something came of it later, correct? I'm always big on planting seeds. Yeah. Socially. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, and that's where guys, if you look more long-term thinking, it's more easy to like start to do stuff like that because you're not expecting an outcome right away. Like that's, I think, a guy's biggest problem today is like they want to know or say or what to do to get the outcome right now. And you can't do that. I think it's just the same with work too sometimes, and like just trying something new. It's like you don't know if it's going to work today, in 30 days or 90 days. Right. You just don't know until you try something and then like, oh, this relationship turned into this. Yeah. Or like what I'm doing now I'm talking to this big VC company in my industry. Like you just never know, right, when you start just talking to people, what opportunities will happen. Yeah. That's the biggest thing, is being outcome dependent, or outcome independent, like you're saying.
Yeah. And being okay. That's the thing too. Like, even for my own personal growth too, socially, or my own personal growth, like in my life, of just looking at things more like well-rounded. Like, when I was younger and I was just like all about my own shit, my own self-improvement, or like hour for hour, I'm spending my time getting ahead for me. Like, I didn't give a lot of people the time of day a lot of times of talking to people. But now as I get older, I'm more open to that, and I'm more open to like just meeting more people. And even if it takes that extra 5 minutes of talking to someone new, whether it be a dude, you know, or a woman, like the overall message is like, when you don't take life so seriously like that, and you don't need a results driven outcome right now, that anxiety drops and you live a better quality of life, I think.
Without a doubt. And I think one of the things too is like, once you start taking that on and accepting that, and then moving forward in life with that ideology. Even yesterday at the cigar lounge, I'm like, oh, I might have a guy for you to help with certain high ticket stuff.
Right.
Oh, Connor, I might have a guy for you with media stuff, and he does real estate stuff. Like, you have the opportunity to create opportunities for others.
Yeah.
And I think a big piece of, this is me personally, but I think it's a human nature in general, is like, it always feels good to give to other people than receive.
For sure.
So like, if you're able to position yourself in any way where you're able to help other people through connections and through relationships, that will also give you a bit of awareness to say, oh wow, I actually enjoy doing that, or I like having the ability to do that and help my friends out, or whether it goes somewhere or whether it doesn't. Right. It's like that awareness of knowing, like, you going all the way back to one of the main conversations of your identity, and knowing, okay, this is what I like doing, this is what I don't like doing, this is my strength, this is my weakness.
Yeah.
And then really doubling down on that, like you said. For sure.
Doubling down on what you're good at, and just paying attention to that, because that's how you stand out and become unique. One of the points I want to touch on too, or
let's do it.
I guess how long have we been rolling on there? Over an hour, that's perfect. One of the points I wanted to touch on was this, and I made a short form on this today. How, like, I titled it something super basic or something generic, right? Like, never tell a woman how you feel, or why you need to stop telling her how you feel. I think a big issue that guys have, I'm going slow on this because I want to say this the right way. The reason why when guys hear something like that, never tell a woman how you feel, you need to have the self-awareness to understand that everything is contextual. Like, context matters, right? Like, or how long you've dated the woman, all this stuff, right? An overall blanket statement like that, though, never tell a woman how you feel. The main message why I think a guy needs to hear it, okay? Because I'm going to take this in two ways. I'm going to give the overall message, and then I also want to talk about context of situation. The reason why you can't tell a woman how you feel, like, let's say you feel a negative emotion. Girl didn't text you back. She didn't call you back. She flaked on you. Anytime you tell a woman that, like, you know, I'm disappointed, or I'm sad, or I'm frustrated, or I feel confused, or I feel mad, or I feel like this, or I feel like that, or I just feel like I'm getting mixed signals. I feel like. Okay. Whenever you do that, you're proving her right that she should pull away from you, because you're not demonstrating the pillar of strength that she needs. And that's really the only thing a woman loves, is strength. The main point that I'm trying to make is, like, for all dudes who have done this, you've sent that text message of verbal vomit. You've done that phone call wearing your heart on your sleeve, telling her how you feel. You're allowed to feel that way. You can, but you don't have to tell her.
Yeah.
You don't have to tell her, because it's not going to help you feel any better. There's a lot of guys, they think once you call her or once you text her and you tell her how you feel, now it's going to go a better way. But it's like, no, you're still going to feel that way, and she's going to let you sit with it even more. It's not actually going to help your feeling. You're allowed to feel that way, but you just really shouldn't tell her.
I made that mistake so many times in the past, and I will give you a really recent example from 2 days ago.
Okay.
That backs up everything you're saying.
Okay.
Where it's like, I was talking to this other girl and everything was going great. And all of a sudden, I don't respond in 5 minutes. 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And then she texts me saying, "Oh, this is why I never come over, really. Oh, this is why." Like she was like, that's what she texted me. It's like, "This is why I don't come over as much as I would want to."
Which what she
and
did
I'm still
there,
working. Yeah, I was working still.
She tested you hard right there. She wanted to see what would happen if she threw something at you.
Yeah, and then about 10 minutes after I see that text, I'm like, this girl. 10 minutes later, I text her back. I'm like, "All right, I'll give you a call in 5. I'm about to wrap up." I was about to wrap up anyways, so I wasn't lying. I was actually still working.
Yeah.
I gave her a call, didn't answer. She forwarded me to voicemail.
Yep.
So guess what happened? I didn't say, "Oh, baby, please text me back, call me back." No. I said, "All right." I didn't say anything. In my mind, I'm like, "All right, you want to play this game? Guess what? I'm not going to respond to you. I'm not going to reach out to you again." And guess what she does? Less than 24 hours later, starts blowing up my Instagram and texting me on both platforms. Mm-hmm. So if you're able to, and of course in that moment, I'm like, what the hell's wrong with this girl? And I felt that.
Yeah. And
I didn't showcase that.
And most guys in that situation would have texted back, "I feel like you're being unfair for saying this. I feel like you don't understand me because I'm still working." They would let the fingertips roll and roll. And I feel this and I feel that. And you know what happens? She'd sit there and laugh.
Yeah.
She'd laugh and go, "Ha, gotcha."
Yeah.
That's what they all do. They go, "Ha, gotcha." And then they don't call you anymore.
Yeah.
So it's like you got to be able to spot these trapdoors, because what a woman is really looking for is looking for that dad energy. And the kid can throw a temper tantrum, but dad is still going to act like dad. And that's what guys forget, is like, you have to have that.
One of the texts you were showing me, are you gonna make a video of that?
Potentially. I don't know.
That breakdown of that text was basically everything Casey says not to do.
That's most guys, is they will emote to a woman thinking that will change her behavior. And the more you emote to a woman, she will not change her behavior. She will twist that knife even harder at you until it just stings. She's going to let you sit in that and sit in that and sit in that. Now, I said at the beginning of this piece about telling a woman how you feel, that there's context to this. Okay, of course there's context to this. And this comes down to the competency. This comes down to the natural selection. The guy doesn't understand that when you're dating a woman, everything is fluid based on timeline and how long you've known her for. If you've dated a woman for 18 months and she comes in the door and she says, "Oh, I love you so much," and you go, "Oh, you went grocery shopping? Oh, look at all the stuff you got me. Oh, I love you too so much. You're the best." If you don't say that back, or if you don't do that by telling her how you feel right there, if you want to call it that, or being a normal human being, you're going to look so weird and so uncalculated. She's going to think either A, she's dating a robot, or B, this is just super weird. It's like, you got to have the context. You got to have the ability to see the context of each situation, because that is what dictates the success of the relationship, because the communication changes month by month, stage by stage.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I think a big piece of this too, to talk about in terms of showcasing those sort of thoughts, and you say emotions too, and just verbalizing it. I think a big thing, now I've fucked up on this and I've messed up on this in the past, where you want to be able to have an open dialogue if there's a problem.
Exactly.
And you don't want to be the red pill alpha male and just like abandon her.
Right.
Without clearing the air. If she has a problem, I'm not going to leave until you tell me everything you feel right now.
Yes.
And I want you to tell me everything you feel. And then, I'm not saying this out loud, but in my mind, like, I want her to tell, this is the psychology of it.
Yes.
I want her to tell me everything that she feels. That way she feels seen, heard, and understood.
Right.
And that way we're on the same page and we can go
and have a good day.
Exactly.
Right. You got to be able to have a good day. So
this is my experience. I'm curious to see if you have any input on it too. It's like, do you believe in attachment styles at all? Like,
I'm not sure.
No?
Potentially. I mean, I know a lot of people do. I think that if maybe, I don't know.
I believe in attachment styles just because I've dealt with polar opposite ends of communication styles with different girls. I think no matter what whether she's obviously, if she's secure, fantastic. But if she's anxious or avoidant, avoidance is the worst, FYI.
I think personally with attachment styles, like I don't have any proof of this, obviously, like this is just my own belief, but I think if I use every piece of critical thinking in my brain, I personally think that her attachment style might change a bit based on her interest level. I think that attachment style and interest level might change. Like I think her attachment style might adapt based on how interested she is or not.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I think that if let's say you're the best she's ever had, or you're the best guy she really wants to lock down, I think she might be more of an anxious attachment in that situation. I think that if you're in her eyes a 7.5, that she's hoping she feels something, and like you're needing to pull back a lot because you need to show her you got strength because she ain't wanting to chase you or pursue you. She might be a bit more of an avoidant to that guy. But that's just my own belief. I don't know if I'm right or wrong.
I mean, I believe in attachment styles, and I also believe what you're saying too.
Yeah.
I think the attachment styles in the beginning, first few weeks or month will show and morph into what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay. What are your, and I'll give my perspective afterwards. Like, what is your perspective on finding a girl that you actually want to date long term? Because most guys, they want to date a girl long term and get married, right?
Yes.
So like,
once again, it comes down to guys watching so much content and their beliefs are just formed by some other dude on a podcast, and they think that that's gospel. Like, I think the most important thing if you're going to date a woman or be in a relationship is that she is nice to you. It doesn't have to be anything spectacular. There's no magic line I'm going to say, right? But overall, she has to be nice to you. Hi, how is your day going? Oh my gosh, I've missed you. Love you so much. Can't wait till Saturday when we go to the movies together. She doesn't flake. She shows up. She has to be nice to you. If she's nice to you, she's showing real desire. If she's showing real desire, you're probably her type, which means just your aura, just who you are, the identity piece, you're just a fit for her. I think that's the most important thing. Man, there's guys that think like they're in the safe zone because of like her past, but it's like, dude, that woman could wake up at 23 and go, you know what, I've had no experience and I'm sick of this dude and I want to go out and I want to sleep with 20 new dudes this year.
I know a girl that actually did that.
And it's like, meanwhile, a different woman, let's say she's been with dudes in her past, but let's say they all turned out to be like, they all went weak. They all got overly attached. She left all of them. Let's say she just didn't like, that's the other thing like guys don't get. Women don't leave you unless there's a reason. Sure, there might be some instances where they just wanted to like hook up with a dude, but a lot of times, like if a woman likes a man, she doesn't just stop liking him logically because she decided to. Like something happened or he did something or he said something
over time
where her emotions subconsciously closed off to him. Yep. So like there might be a woman who like a dude just clicks with, and it's like you got to really just look at her behavior towards you. How different are you at 25 versus 20?
Way different.
Okay, I'm way different at 23 than I was at 20, 27 versus 23, and now almost 30 compared to 27. Women go through an evolution too as they age. Yep. So it's like, yeah, sure, like guys are like, oh, you know, beauty declines with age. Yeah, sure, but like also like you need to really just make sure she likes you, she has your best interests at heart, and she's not going to play a bunch of games and pull away from you and make your life hell if you weren't on point that day.
Yeah. What is the saying? Choose the woman that chooses you in a way.
Yeah.
As long as she meets certain character qualities and stuff like that. Would you agree that a girl's desire and a girl's interest in you grows through separation a little bit?
Well, so to refine this point, how I would say it is, women only love one thing, and that would be strength. Women love strength. They love when you demonstrate strength. Now, how do you demonstrate strength? You have to know what to demonstrate at what time. So that when you say the word clinginess, yeah, at certain points as a man, you're going to have to demonstrate strength by not being so available or needing to pick up the phone or needing because you need emotional reassurance. A lot of that emotional reassurance comes from a guy needing added text messages or phone calls. Sometimes space to a woman is you showing strength because you show that you're okay to be alone.
Correct.
So if you look at just strength, the word strength holistically, it's like there's a bunch of pieces. There's your physical strength, your mental strength, your ability to be alone, knowing who you are, not needing anyone, showing resiliency. You need to know what to show at different times. Let's say you're a dude though who's super just like there might be a dude who's scared to show any ounce of emotion ever, to the point where it's like he's no longer even human anymore. Well, let's say you've been married for 2-3 years, or let's say you're in a relationship, you might actually demonstrate strength or humility at certain points by actually being more open in conversation from time to time, because it's what she needed at that exact time. So it's like getting good at relationships. It's like a dynamic skill that you keep improving on.
Well, that's the thing, is like pickup is one skill and retention is a whole different skill.
Yeah, totally.
Way different.
Yeah, totally. I will say this though, I don't think a guy will when it comes to retention, if you really want to retain a woman's interest, like if she thinks you have a good amount of sex appeal and she wants to have like a family with you, to some degree, I do think that you need to show that you are a workhorse at your purpose. You're so invested into your craft, because that's how you satisfy hypergamy, not just with dollar signs, but you're the living proof of demonstration of hypergamy, showing the internal traits of protection and provisioning. And I think that's what a lot of guys miss too, is like, as they get older, they don't realize like how important that identity and that purpose, and spending so many hours developing that and watering that seed, it's so important. So, I mean, to kind of wrap up then, what I would say to that last point, and this ties into identity and natural selection, everything I've talked about, she is focused on you when you are focused on you.
It sounds selfish a little bit sometimes, but it's just real.
Yeah.
And like you said, you have to adapt to have the best reproductive success. Okay, what can I adapt to that shows that where I have the most success? It's you being focused on you,
right? And
then them joining your world, right? They want to be a part of it, and you're not prioritizing them in a way.
That's probably where we'll wrap up. I hope it was a good pod. Like I said, I'll link our first interview down below. And yeah, we'll see you in the next one.